Hello everyone and welcome back to Game Week 2 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. We join myself, Ryan Sipple, for the final game of the day and weekend on Court A, and it will be contested between Nottinghamshire PFC and Leeds Dynamos PFC. Let's go through the squads quickly. Nottinghamshire have the following: Sam Langley, Adam Langley, Matt Hadfield, Leighton G and Kieran Wade. Leeds Dynamos are comprised of Seb Copeland, Jack McNaughton, Rhys Stewart, Liam Chadwick, Jack Humphreys, Harrison Taylor and Hayden Lambert. I'll show you the live league table so you will see a win for Nottinghamshire would take them top of the standings going into that Christmas break. So that, surely the non-negotiable objective for Leeds Dynamos. It was a really frustrating, disappointing defeat to Villa Lions, which sees them trailing the pack slightly. A win for them, however, if they can score more than 2 goals, would take them up to third, which is not a bad return at all. Nottingham coming off the back of an incredibly frustrating 0-0 draw with Teesside Steel, who at the conclusion of this weekend will have a game in hand over all of the teams above them. Should they win that, they'll go 1 behind the now league leaders. If Nottinghamshire win, 2 behind league leaders. So it's all still to play for in the division. Let's show you the league top goal scorers prior to Game Week 2 kick-starting. Kieran Wade had bragging rights at the top, but since that, Tanvir Hussain has scored 7 goals to put himself firmly at the summit. An incredible accumulation from the National League debutant for 25-26. Adam Langley, Leighton G, both with 5 goals apiece. I think I've been informed that Leighton G will not be present in Game Week 3, and that will be a real miss because he is an incredible player. It was hard to select, but we did opt to choose him as the standout player of that 0-0 draw with Teesside Steel. As to his impact, he's going to feature from the start here. A win for Leeds would mark it as 4 wins from their 5 games, which again, a brilliant weekend, which they probably would have snapped my hand off for had I offered it to them on early Saturday morning. Jeff Lewis in the centre. Just having a conversation with Matt Hadfield. Kicking off on Court B at the same time. West Bromwich Albion Baggies versus Nottingham Forest. Everywhere you look, there is significant fixtures that could really change the look and feel of this division as we are officially underway. It has been a long weekend, but it has been a great weekend. Nottinghamshire line up with Matt Hadfield, Adam Langley, Kieran Wade and Leighton G. Leeds Dynamos, Jack Humphreys, Liam Chadwick, Harrison Taylor and Hayden Lambert. No doubt they'll be looking to take their frustration out on Leeds Dynamos. It hasn't been vintage Nottinghamshire in game week 2. They were just prolific in the opening weekend a month ago. But game week 2 has been about narrow margins and frustrating draws. Liam Chadwick too aggressive there. Does well to escape yellow even without warning. It was unnecessary. Talking about Nottinghamshire taking out their frustration, Leeds will be looking to do the same. That defeat against Villa, I think the game could still be going on now and it would be 1-0 against them. Kieran Wade at this back post. Into the box from Adam Langley, but cleared by Jack Humphreys. At the conclusion of this game, you can vote on your Swizzles player, unsung hero, team and fantasy team of the weekend, and they will all be announced via social media tomorrow afternoon. Adam Langley comes across to, I think he assumed that whistle had been blown for him. Just stopped for a second, which allowed Liam Chadwick to get it up the court. But when you consider Nottinghamshire's scorelines in game week 1, 6-0 against Hull, 5-0 against GBG Saracens, 3-0 against Alshenham, 8-0 against Baggies, and compare that to game week 2, just 1-0 against City, 2-0 against Forest, and 0-0 against Manchester United and Teesside Steel. It's night and day. I'm not quite sure what they attribute that lack of proficiency to, but it's a definite difference. Just trapped on Leighton G's chair. Yeah, I completely agree, Greg. Longer days on the Sunday. I think 2 of the 5 weekends we have to extend them on Sunday. So rather than finishing at the 5:3 fixture, we have to go till 4:15, which is a real test for everyone. But if you've got 3 games on a Sunday, which is a recurring feat across 25-26 in both the Premiership and the Championship, the test of stamina, you would most certainly prefer 3 games on a Saturday opposed to a Sunday. So we have to commend the efforts of Nottinghamshire in this instance, who've got 3 games today or have played 3 games. KG opening 4. Aidan Lambert just not up to the speed of the game as of yet. Just could have kept that in and have been slightly more alert. Leighton G looking to pick that lock. Our next iteration in the Slater and Gordon National League, the 13th and 14th of December, I think. Game week 2 of the Premiership. And if game week 1 is anything to go by, we are in for one hell of a season. What's so good about both divisions is early on. No one's running away with it. Leighton G has an attempt on goal. Undecided at the top and the bottom. And even if you asked everyone now, what do you think the outcome will be in the Premiership or Championship, you'd get several different answers. Nottinghamshire was so dominant in Game Week 1, but every opponent they faced in Game Week 2 has asked questions of them. I think you're probably looking at Villa Lions as being the standout team in Game Week 2. 4 wins and a draw. Nottinghamshire will need to win here if they want to top the table. Otherwise it will go to Brad Bates' side. Trying to find that gap. Leighton G does register a shot on target. Doesn't trouble Liam Chadwick, and just that condensed nature of the attack gives Leeds Dynamos an indirect free kick. Once again, looks as if Baggies are 1-0 up against Nottingham Forest on Court B. Once again, Alex Dowding and Chris Gordon commentating live. Huge thank you to all the commentators that have supported the team in Game Week 2. We will be looking for Premiership commentators in the coming weeks. If you want to support our efforts, don't hesitate to get in touch with me directly. Kick in to Nottinghamshire. Leighton G looks as if he's going to go backwards to one of his 2 central players. It's disappointing. I mean, it's easy for me to say, having never played the game. I would love to have seen him be brave and trying to go back to Matt Hadfield there. It was so condensed. It was always going to lead to a 2-on-1 in Leeds' favour again. Multiple times has been the case in the 8.5 minutes we've played. And Chadwick has to be careful. It was already been warned with his excessive force. Experience of Adam Langley to just try and pass it off the number 28. Way back, Matt Hadfield, who's had very little to do. Gets his first real involvement into the action. Leeds edging their way up the court. Yeah, I do love a war of attrition. I've watched plenty of them in Game Week 2. A real test of my stamina. Liam Chadwick now shaping up to go to Harrison Taylor. Fired towards Jack Humphreys as the most defensive of the 4 players. Nice pick off, but no one there to capitalise. Just quality has been missing ever so slightly in Nottinghamshire's performances. They know they're their own harshest critics, and even if they come away with the 3 points here, they'll no doubt go back and re-watch the footage and try and figure out what wasn't clicking, what wasn't working, to ensure that come game week 3 they're back in fine form in pursuit of the championship title. Commend your efforts, Greg. You've been just as committed as I have, watching most of the games across the weekend. You're meant to be on holiday enjoying your cruise, not watching Powerchair Football. The whole ball hasn't left the court, it remains in. Just needed a little flick from Adam Langley to win himself and his side the corner ball. Comment from Jeff Lewis to say this would be Nottinghamshire's third consecutive 0-0 after we had a discussion following game week 1 of the Premiership where West Bromwich Albion had 3 consecutive 0-0s, which is completely unprecedented for them. They've never had so much as 2 consecutive 0-0 games. Substitution for Leeds Dynamos, Jack McNaughton on in place of Hayden Lambert. Sam Langley yet to feature. I think for many he is the standout player in this squad, so no doubt he'll be itching to come on. Harrison Taylor, Jack McNaughton has to change his advancement. Had Harrison Taylor continued to creep out to the left. Shares a lot of similar traits to that draw with Teesside, and the substitution I wanted to see happen has finally occurred. 13.5 minutes in. It's Leighton G who has to exit for Sam Langley. I wonder if we'll see a little shift in momentum now with it levelling off slightly in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm delighted for you, Greg, that you have the son of the Caribbean. The weather isn't as favourable in Nottinghamshire. As Harrison Taylor squeezes it in. Complete lapse in concentration from Matt Hadfield, and out of absolutely nowhere, Nottinghamshire concede their first goal of the season, and a really, really disappointing way to do so. Just watching it back, it's just Harrison Taylor. He's persistent, pressing play, pushing it off the Nottinghamshire goalkeeper. And Leeds Dynamos, out of almost nowhere, take a 1-goal advantage. I can see the beaming smiles of our Villa Lions squad on the far side. Abby Bolt, Brad Bates, Naglis Montvillas, who, as I said earlier, will be the biggest Leeds Dynamos fans in all of Nottingham, because a win for them or any dropped points from Nottinghamshire will see Villa top the table. Something just isn't clicking for Nottinghamshire. Players with the experience of Matt Hadfield, Adam and Sam Langley don't make mistakes or errors like that. Not quite sure what they attribute it to. And that's too aggressive from Sam Langley. Whether they're just struggling with the title of favourites, contenders, they're going to have to reverse this style of play, this momentum, if they're going to want to get back into that conversation. Of course, it doesn't take them out of consideration in any way at all. They're still right up the top, but in terms of momentum and giving opponents some sort of a blueprint as to how to better them, but that is the beauty of the National League. Sometimes you have to expect the unexpected. Really nice pick off from Kieran Wade. Likewise from Sam Langley. Just a little bit more passion and fire. That's what we need. It's all just a little bit laboured. Direct free kick as a result of that 2-on-1. Sam Langley to take, just rearranges his attack into Adam Langley, just guides it towards goal. No real power to trouble Jack Humphreys, but danger still present. The way, coming back to that free kick, the way Adam Langley was set, it was never ever going to generate a goal scoring opportunity. Liam Chadwick refuses to make the same error of Matt Hadfield to cover his near post. Liam Chadwick not happy with the referee's decision. A win here for Leeds would surely put them in contention of team of the weekend. 4 wins from 5. It was a disappointed defeat to Villa. It wasn't by any stretch like a rout. It was only 1-0 it finished. But beyond that, Lewis Harris and Dan Rigby will be pretty happy with their accumulation. As it's fired into the box, doesn't meet anyone. One more goal for Leeds Dynamos would see them top Norwich in the standings. They have an identical record. They've both played 9. Both got 19 points with a positive goal difference of +6. Already we're seeing goal difference play a significant factor. Final minute of the first half. Pick off from Sam Langley, no direction. You can see the frustration on their faces, or certainly I can. Probably doesn't translate over streams. But no teams in this division have just had an easy task in their games. Every team has faltered. Every team has dropped points. Whereas in seasons gone by, certainly last year in the Championship, we saw GBG Knights and Muscle Warriors just be completely dominant from start to finish almost. They only dropped points when they'd already confirmed their spots as a Premiership squad. And that's how even this division is. Same with the Premiership. No one's quite got that perfect record, which is what you want, really. You never want someone just storming the division. And that signals the end of the first half. Thank you to all that are tuning in. I'll be back very shortly for the final 20 minutes of Game Week 2. Hello everyone and welcome back to the final half of football in Game Week 2 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. Where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, for Nottinghamshire versus Leeds Dynamos. Leeds Dynamos a goal up following a fairly eventless first 20 minutes. It was a real lapse in concentration for Matt Hadfield. A very rare error, which saw Harrison Taylor capitalise. Can Nottinghamshire reverse this scoreline and ensure they top the table come weekend's end? I know of 3 players watching on that will not want that to happen. And all of them align to Villa, Rockets, Lions, current league leaders. Adam Langley kicks proceedings off. Double substitution for Leeds Dynamos. Sees them switch their system completely. Liam Chadwick now in that goalkeeper jersey, but I suspect will play in the centre. Harrison Taylor looks as if he will be the most defensive of the 4 players. Hayden Lambert and Reece Stewart on for Jack McNaughton and Jack Humphreys. Into the centre, piling on the pressure early on. So indirect free kick. To be taken by Sam Langley. I'm looking at this channel down to Kieran Wade on the left as you view it. That is surely the option. He's just dipped out of sight at the moment. With Reece Stewart coming across to cover. So it's going to go straight down the centre. Nice play into Kieran Wade. 180 of Sam Langley, that's better. Just getting the 2-3 passes with clean, crisp connection. Something they haven't been able to do, certainly today. Been pushed into the side of Harrison Taylor, down the line, swept up by Adam Langley across the box. Sam Langley happy to let that roll out for a corner ball. Whistle not blown because 5 metres is not being observed by Harrison Taylor. He now puts up that wall. Sam Langley blocked by the side of Liam Chadwick's chair. Now Hayden Lambert to break away into the path of Reece Stewart. Just pushes it into Matt Hadfield, who invites the Dynamos number 20, who continues to gain territory. Going to try and flick it over to Hayden Lambert. Sam Langley dispossesses and breaks away. Harrison Taylor called into defensive duties. It's not often I've seen him feature as a defender. And that's a really nice passage of play. Kieran Wade strikes. Not before, 2-on-1. awarded in their favour. Good advantage played by Jeff Lewis, but that is probably the best passage of play Nottinghamshire have put together in the 24 minutes we've played. And they can follow it up here with another. Still chasing this game. Indirect. Kieran Wade on the edge, but very sensible positioning of Hayden Lambert just to restrict the advancement. There's no real danger. Everything just seems a little bit forced and very predictable. Kieran Wade keeps it in. Ricochets kindly into the centre, but Reece Stewart is approaching that same ball as Hayden Lambert. That's disappointing. A little bit better communication needed, but probably a little bit harsh because Leeds Dynamos are the ones with that one goal advantage. There was definitely some appeals from the balcony above, but Hayden Lambert deemed too aggressive there, trying to get it up the court. It was up for debate, but being courtside, I could just see that jolt go through the body of Matt Hadfield, so I would agree with Jeff Lewis on his decision. Yeah, I would tend to agree, Greg. It just doesn't look to be any real plan. It seems very disjointed. And that's remarkable, really, when you consider what they were able to do just 3 weeks ago, I think it was. You could understand a dip in performance and change in momentum between game weeks 2 and game weeks 3 being 3 months, but not when it's 3 weeks. It's almost a continuation of what you did. And that falls kindly to Kieran Wade. Again, just really eager to engage that sooner than he needed to. Maybe taking it in reverse would have been a far more favourable option. Into the 180 across the court to Sam Langley would have certainly yielded more success and just pushing it forward with your front bumper. But I understand that comes with a tremendous amount of skill and precision, but it's completely unopposed. And that's nice from Hayden Lambert. I don't know if it was intentional, but took it out the path of Adam Langley. Looks as if Baggies will be ending their weekend on a high. Jeff Lewis and Alan Murray just having a conversation with each other. The ball is that of Leeds Dynamos, so Liam Chadwick to take. Reece Stewart locked down this line, who I suspect will be the target. Cleared by Matt Hadfield. Harrison Taylor really reluctant to engage. Yeah, when you're a title favourite, you're held to a higher standard than other teams around you. Just trying to understand what the decision is from Jeff Lewis. That post was lodged far out the way. So a set ball will be contested between Liam Chadwick and Leighton G. Another free kick. Very good area, maybe just a little bit too central, but it does give Leighton G 2 options. Sam Langley to his side, Kieran Wade slightly more advanced. Into Sam Langley, swipes it towards goal. Harrison Taylor clears on the line. And the goal has been given, I think. Really hard to distinguish from our angle, but Jeff Lewis was right over that. And just as was the case in the first half, almost out of nowhere, this game observes another goal. Sam Langley, the goal scorer. Leeds will be disappointed with that. Even watching it back is hard to properly see if the ball had gone over the line. But full confidence in that decision. So 30 minutes in, it's Nottinghamshire 1, Leeds Dynamos 1. Probably say it's fair that they've managed to get that goal. Not in terms of quality, but in terms of attacking intent. They've certainly been the braver. Cross to Kieran Wade, strikes it goal bound. That is a really important save. Looked almost a certain goal, probably should have been a goal. But Liam Chadwick does just enough to save. Leighton G now breaks away. The whistle is in the mouth of Jeff Lewis, but play continues. Substitution signalled. Seb Copeland and Jack Humphreys on in place of Hayden Lambert and Reece Stewart. Neither of those players coming off really had the opportunity to influence things. Very isolated as to this nature of Nottinghamshire's high press. So Seb Copeland features for the first time this game and will sit as that defensive anchor. Jack Humphreys will take a position on the wing. So he's now played in all positions possible. And will be hoping to help them regain that 1-goal advantage. Just off of his chair. Again, it was just slightly forced. I think the option for Liam Chadwick in the centre could have been there had he just taken his time a little bit more. Pressure in a way. I don't suspect that Nottinghamshire will make that same mistake twice. No one there to receive. It needs a very necessary clearance from Liam Chadwick. Otherwise, Leighton G would have been set away on that left-hand wing. Just both of their performances have been plagued with errors and lapses in concentration, which is not something you often say when talking about these two teams. Chadwick down to Harrison Taylor. Leighton G misses the 180. Referee had blown his whistle. Nice passage of play nonetheless. This result still would not be enough to see Nottinghamshire leapfrog Villa in the standings. They need 3 points if they're to go into Christmas as top of the table as Sam Langley peppers the left-hand post. I think Seb Copeland left the court there in prevention of a clear goal-scoring opportunity. If so, this will be a red card and a penalty kick. This could be a huge moment in the game. All three officials communicating one another. Jeff Lewis is fantastic at observing and adjudicating the game, and he will only give a red card if he assumes it was an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Just trying to watch it back. I would have to say, if that is the case, then it is. I think he left the court. He was behind the post. So let's see what the decision is. Seb Copeland being called over, as is the majority of the players. Jeff Lewis is going to explain his decision, and we shall see what the outcome is. Either way, I think it will be a penalty. Whether or not Seb Copeland sees red or not, we shall soon find out. It's a long discussion, which I almost like to see, just using this as an opportunity to educate the players. He hasn't yet looked to his book. Nor has it been placed for a penalty. So that is one I will have to talk to them about at the end of the game. But I don't have any doubts in the decision of Jeff Lewis. Few better people worldwide at observing the laws of the game. So it's going to be an indirect free kick to Sam Langley into the centre, and it ricochets between Seb Copeland and Liam Chadwick. It is a really unfortunate goal to concede. Sam Langley cannot go down as the goal scorer. I think Liam Chadwick was the last person to get the touch. And out of, again, a very minimal chance, Nottinghamshire find the goal that puts them 1-0 up. It isn't vintage. It has not been pretty in any way, shape or form. But Nottinghamshire get the goal that puts them into the ascendancy and puts them back top of the table, to the annoyance of Villa Rockets Lions. It's been a pretty crazy game, and not in a quality sense, but just the goals that have been conceded. I'm not sure either of these two teams will want to go back and watch this, because it isn't great viewing. Most of the success is more attributed to mistakes than technical or tactical play. It is 2-1, just working on the graphics. Sam Langley has another indirect free kick. Confirmation of that goal now as we are now into the final minute. Yeah, I don't disagree. The mentality of Nottinghamshire, even when it doesn't click, the going gets tough. They've still found themselves on the end of an unbeaten run, an unbeaten 5-fixture weekend, 2 0-0 draws, complemented by 3 very close wins, or certainly appears that this will end in a win. And they're top of the table. They will go into the Christmas break at the summit. But I did mention that Leighton G, I think, is not present in game week 3, and that will be a huge miss. I think he's been a really important player this weekend, as Sam Langley does get a touch, so it needs a secondary off a Leeds chair. As we are now 30 seconds over the regulation time. Fascinating game over on Court B, which is just wrapping up now. 4-2 to Nottingham Forest. We're probably going to observe at least a minute and a half over due to that stoppage and consultation from Jeff Lewis. 2-on-1 awarded. Lots to digest, lots to talk about. We will get into that in episode 39 of the 2-on-1 Powerchair Football podcast. Also powered by MK Battery. Keep an eye out for that one in the week. Just need a second to digest it all and process what we've seen. There is so much to talk about. Prevalence of 2-on-1s in this game has been incredibly high. But a huge thank you to everyone that's tuned in to this game and others across Game Week 2. It's been fantastic support this weekend. And as mentioned, we're next here for Game Week 2 of the Premiership. Keep an eye out on socials for the voting process of the Swizzles Awards. The whistle is in the mouth of Jeff Lewis, and that signals the end of the game. 2-1 Nottinghamshire. 3 disappointing goals when you consider it, but it won't matter to the now league leaders. Let's show you that table so you can see how it looks. Now everything has concluded. Nottinghamshire top of the pack, a point above their Midlands rivals. Norwich City with another fantastic weekend. They're still in the mix for a potential playoff position. At the bottom, that win for West Bromwich Albion Baggy is crucial in just separating them slightly from the bottom pack. Same with Manchester City. But there's so much intrigue, so many storylines. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. See you all soon.